Next.
Hi, I'm Dr. Julie Bruno.
Hi, I'm Hollis Silverman, and today we're going to be talking about something near and dear to all of us, and that is sleep.
Oh, something I don't get enough of. Yay. Okay.
So I'm going to give you two scenarios, and you guys are going to tell me which scenario sounds best to you. Okay?
Okay.
So scenario one. So picture yourself waking up out of bed. All right, you're waking up and you do that stretch, that yawn, and you feel good. And then you just jump out of bed, go get your coffee, or you get whatever drink and breakfast you have in the morning, put on your clothes, get to your destination, and you're feeling on top of the world. You already have your mental to-do list in your mind, and you're putting it into action, right? You are checking off that mental to-do list. You are making things happen. You are feeling productive. You are being productive.
Okay.
And you've got energy. And as you're making your way home, you have energy for your evening. Sounds pretty good, right?
Sounds great. I want some.
Yeah, that's a good scenario. I want that day. Let me give you the second scenario. You wake up and, you're dying. You're dying. Just kidding. You're not really dying. But you feel that way. You feel very sluggish. So you hit the snooze button. Go back to sleep.
Mm-hmm.
And then you wake up from the snooze and you're like, no, I'm going to do it again. So you repeat that cycle about 5 more times, give or take, maybe 10. And then you wake up and you just feel like a zombie and you are getting to that coffee pot. You're praying to get to that coffee pot and praying that the coffee is going to help you feel more awake.
Mm-hmm.
And then you make your way to your destination and you just are feeling sluggish all day long. And if you're working with your boss or you're out with your family, whatever you're doing, you're starting to feel kind of irritable. You're feeling just not good.
Mm-hmm.
You know, sometimes you may even feel a little nauseous during the day or a little dizzy or a little lethargic.
Sound hungover.
Right? Those same symptoms can happen with a lack of sleep.
Oh.
So, which, I don't know, I guess that's kind of a no-brainer, but which scenario sounds best to you?
A.
A? And I think you guys would agree with A.
Mm-hmm.
So, A, in order to achieve more of that scenario of A as opposed to that scenario of B, I'm going to give you guys some tips on how to achieve a more restful night's sleep.
First off, how many hours of sleep should we get?
They say that, if you can get 7 to 8 hours of sleep a night, that's ideal.
And do most people get that?
Most people do not get that.
Okay.
Most people average get about, they say 5 to 7 hours a night. And that's usually they say 5.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm at 5.5.
5.5.
6.
Yep. That's that you're right there. That's actually more of the average. That's mostly what people get nowadays, especially with, if you're a mom and you have a busy schedule with your kids, and now more women are working. So with a job and children and managing a home, it's a lot. Where's there time for sleep? So if you kind of give or take, you're up for 16 hours and you sleep for 8. That's usually the rule of thumb. And most people will stay up longer and get less sleep. And so if you get less sleep, what ends up happening is you're going to start to have symptoms. Symptoms of what? How do you feel like when you don't get sleep, Dr. Bruno?
I feel mentally foggy. I feel irritable, low frustration tolerance. Sometimes I get a headache. I can't concentrate. I don't want to go to the gym. I eat poorly. I make bad choices, so I eat poorly. Golly, so much. I don't want to be around people, and I have to be around people. So and it's a cascading effect. Usually by Friday, my colleague or my best friend will come in and she'll say, "Are we bitchy today?" And I'm like, usually, yes, I am.
You hit the nail on the head. I mean, yes, every single symptom that you mentioned is somebody that is chronically sleep deprived. Yes. And so, yeah, and it's going to really catch up to you at the end of the week, especially if you keep on that same cycle of getting that 5.5 hours of sleep. You know, the best way you're going to function in your everyday life is 7 to 8. Some people even need 9. I mean, it depends on the person, quite frankly. Some people say, I function best. I could do 6 hours, not a problem. And some people genuinely can.
Yeah.
And that's true. That's fine. Well, we're talking average numbers. So average, you know, just give or take 7 to 8 is usually a rule of thumb.
And what usually happens is that when in your 20s you can function pretty well on 5 to 6, and then as we get into our 30s, then we don't realize and we keep that same pattern, and then we see things mounting up and we see our frustration and we see changes in our behavior and our interactions with others, and we don't make an association between that one decade versus the other decade until someone says, well, how much sleep are you getting? And this has been a huge issue. You know, it's come about in the last couple of years about how sleep deprived the U.S. is in particular, so which really drives up coffee stocks. So
very true, beautifully said. Yeah, and these are some sleep tips that actually I can give you that will, speaking of coffee stocks, you know, avoiding caffeine will help you achieve a better night's rest. So, and you know, if you're sleep deprived, you're probably going to try and drink more caffeine to stay awake. And hence, you know, coffee is used used to stay awake. So I would probably stay away from it 4 to 6 hours before bedtime.
Okay.
Because that way you will feel more relaxed, and your central nervous system will not be stimulated as caffeine is a stimulant. So
sodas, so coffee, caffeine. Yes, I'm glad you said caffeine.
Yes, yes. In even eating your caffeine, so even chocolate can have caffeine in it. So yeah, avoiding anything with a lot of sugar in it, I would stay away from. You know, getting that sugar rush is going to keep you awake. If you can do that 4 to 6 hours before bedtime, you'll be in good hands. Also, avoiding alcohol or heavy meals before sleep is important. Remember, alcohol is a depressant, and eating a heavy meal can make you really tired, right? So let's say that, you know, you might start to sleep from the alcohol or from that heavy meal, surely. But, you know, as that alcohol or the food starts to metabolize in your body, the central nervous system is going to become awake. Hence, if your central nervous system becomes awake, so are you.
Yeah.
So I would just avoid doing that, especially if you're trying to, you know, change your sleep habits.
Absolutely. Also, don't use technology in bed. So don't keep your phone like right next to your face. Don't fall asleep to the television. Some people find it beneficial to fall asleep to certain sounds like ocean, seagulls, whatever. That's fine, but not it doesn't come from your television, because you know that glare, that blue light is really bad for you when you sleep and you're getting to sleep.
Absolutely, yeah. Tablets, the TV, that blue glare, yes, it will keep you awake, because what happens is your brain thinks that is sunlight. And so sunlight means daytime, time to stay awake. So really, if you can keep the lights very dim and, you know, really darker it is in the room, the better. Also be mindful of the temperature in the room. Slightly cool will help you achieve a better night's rest. You know, those hot summer nights that people complain of, yes, if you are warm in your bed, you are not going to be able to sleep as well. So slightly cool is always the way to go. Definitely.
Absolutely. 68 degrees in my house at night. Love it.
That's perfect. Also, avoid smoking. As we talked about with caffeine, it's a stimulant. It will keep you awake. So I know some of you smokers out there might get mad at me for saying this, but rule of thumb, you know, 2 to 3 hours before bedtime, try to avoid smoking. It will help.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Also, another tip, and I hope I don't have to convince you guys too hard on this one, but having sex will actually really help you achieve a good night's rest. It releases those feel-good hormones, oxytocin, dopamine, serotonin, that will help relax your body, hence falling asleep.
Oh my gosh, that's so true. That's
Right?
so true, right? It doesn't
Yes.
happen to me, but it happens to my partner all the time. It's like 5 minutes. So,
Out for the count.
me, I'm like, what am I doing next?
Some people do.
So it's a good way to shut up your partner if you want them to be quiet
Right?
afterwards.
And if they're snoring, nudge them a little bit so that you can get a good night's rest too if they snore.
Yes, or use earplugs like I do.
Yes, yes. And also keep the same sleep-wake time, even on the weekends. The weekends, they don't discriminate with the weekdays. So, if you go to sleep at 9 o'clock at night, make sure you go to sleep at 9 o'clock at night, whether it's Tuesday or Saturday. And if you wake up at 7 o'clock in the morning, make sure you wake up at the same time, whether it's Tuesday or Saturday. That's very important if you're trying to really change your sleep habits.
Okay. Well, I didn't know that. Thank you.
You're welcome, of course. So that is really it for sleep tips from me.
Awesome. And have a good night's sleep. I'm Dr. Bruno.
Have a good night's sleep. I'm Hollis Silverman.
Bye.
Bye.